Today's topic is a very, very interesting topic that every youth should actually pay attention to, and it is turning hobbies into profits. Yes, you heard me right. You're probably wondering, are there not challenges or issues that one will face when they're turning their hobbies into profits? Yes, there are. So we are going to do this today so you can actually have an idea of what we're talking about. So don't go anywhere, because this is Youth Perspective. It is time to hear from our guests, and of course, as usual, I bring amazing and good-looking people to the studio. And with me, I have Davidson in the house. Hi, Davidson.
Hi, Joy.
How are you?
I'm fine today. How are you doing too?
I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm fine, sure.
Okay. Earlier on, I told you that our topic is turning hobbies into profits. So yeah, you're wondering, okay, why are we doing this today? But regardless, it's just because everyone right now will have our own hobbies. We'll have things that we like to do. It could be swimming, it could be photography, it could be graphic designs, it could be programming, it could be anything at all. And yes, you can actually turn your hobbies into profits. You can actually make money from them. But we're going to analyze that today, yes? So let's just dive into what we have for today.
Yeah.
Let me stop talking and get this started, right?
Sure.
Okay, so how did you actually realize that you can turn your hobby into profits? But before we get to that first one,
Okay.
what are your hobbies? First of all,
Okay, first of all, I have a lot of hobbies, right?
All right.
Yeah. But like the ones that are very dear to me, hobbies is like something that you enjoy doing, that you have fun while you're doing it.
Yeah.
You don't feel tense, you don't feel bothered, just enjoy doing so. I'll say my major hobby is like writing code, writing software that people you get to use. You get like program writing stuff for people out there to use. That's my hobby. Besides that, I have other leisure time activities like playing football, video games, but my major hobby is like just writing code, writing software, and building.
Writing code and writing software.
Yeah.
Okay, more like programming, right?
Yeah,
coding.
Coding. Yeah.
Oh,
you call it that.
So basically, you're a software engineer.
Yeah, I'm a software engineer.
Nice one. That's a good one, because basically this generation we're very much interested into digital stuffs. Everything is tech-wise, but we're not going into tech today. We're just talking about hobbies, especially. So you mentioned that you're actually a computer software engineer.
Yeah.
You realize that, okay, you have these hobbies. So how did you realize you can make money out of your hobbies?
Yeah, okay. Realizing it has been like, I've seen people out there that like software engineers like that make actually good money from what they do, right? So I said to myself that like why can't I be like these people? Why can't I be like them? Like, sometimes you just like doing your hobby, and so you eventually realize that you can make something. Yeah, you can make something from it. Rather than just whiling away time, just making it your main hobby, you can like, from whatever it is, you can just like start up something. So I tried started creating professional stuff and putting it out there for people to like see. And then I started freelancing. Then that was like the initial phase of my converting my hobby into something that I can make money from. You guys. So I realized, let's say like I think a couple of years later that I can make good money from my hobby.
Just side hustle.
Yeah, I was trying to I started like making my hobby into something like a professional stuff. Yeah, so I've enjoyed it so far, and I'm still doing it today.
Okay, that's nice. So basically, from just realizing that okay, you can actually do this and do more in it, you went into it
full time. Yeah.
So did you have to, should I say, learn more about it? Do you have to learn more about it?
Yeah, of course. Because when you're doing your hobby, there's some things that you will not be aware of, or there's some things that you will not be exposed to.
Sure.
Yeah, and some like ways of doing stuff professionally, or how when you're building for people like millions of users or thousands of users, you get. So I had to like learn a couple of new things, a couple of new concepts. Sometimes it has to be like a new programming language.
Okay.
Just to like fit in this role, and then actualize what it is I want to like achieve.
But doesn't that get tiring? Because let me know because doing your hobby, doing something you love out of passion, it's just okay, I love this thing, I like to do this thing, I can do this thing without thinking twice about it. I can do just happily just do one or two, whatever it may be. But when it becomes full-time, when it becomes something that it now demands from me, how would you not balance that?
Yeah, I think for you to like do your hobby full time, and you shouldn't even be thinking about balancing is going to be there. Of course, you have to like set out times for you to like balance stuff to just ensure you have a good work-life balance. But when you have something that is your hobby that you're doing full time,
Yeah.
I think it's more easy for you than somebody that's doing something that you just have to do to just like make money and fend for himself. You get
Okay.
so because hobby is something you do for fun,
Actually,
and passion is something that you do, like the drive. When you have passion, like you have the drive for something, you can convert your hobby into passion. And I think
convert your hobby into passion.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think somebody that converts his hobby into passion can do his hobby like two times as is.
What if I have that passion? I have that fire burning inside of
Yeah.
me to do this, that zeal to really do all that, and then at the end of the day, it's demanding so much from me,
From you,
so many things from me.
from you.
Personally, I think I'll get tired and
You
just
get tired, yeah.
back out, because why should my hobby or why should something I love to do start stressing
Stressing
me?
you out.
Because regardless, we don't like stress
Yeah, you don't like stress
at all. We're very soft. We don't like stress.
I'll give you an example, and I'll also give you like routines that you should follow. Let's take example now. You have you have footballers. You
Okay.
get footballers. Most of the footballers we have nowadays, right?
Yeah.
They do what they do because it was their hobby. You get.
Okay.
And then why is their hobby? It became like a professional career. Football is a professional career, right?
course.
So this professional career, when they realize that okay, this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, they have to like do. Most of them put in dedication and passion into these things, and when they do it, I think they do it for fun. You get so, and when they play football, when footballers play football, it's something that they know that it is their hobby at the same time.
It's something they love to do.
Yeah, they love to do. So and something, and again is their passion too, because they have fans that want to like see what they are doing. If they fumble at some point, like some people will have to like, so you know that okay, I have to like do this right and do this professional, like just to make demands from people.
Okay.
Yeah, and then to make everything balanced, I think you should do the right things, like get rest, work-life balance, eat well, sleep well, and just ensure you have proper timing, space things out so you don't get burnt out. You get so. I believe that is how to like balance your
hobby with professional life and all.
Yeah.
Regarding the fact that okay, of course you have the passion, you have the drive, and this is what you want to do. Yeah, but you cannot deny the fact that there are going to be challenges along the way.
Yeah.
But I'm coming down to you now who realize that you love to do coding, tech, anything tech specifically, right? Yeah. So did you not ever face any challenge, in that process of actually turning that your hobby into making money out of it?
Into making money, yeah. I faced challenges. Yeah, I faced a lot of challenges, like going professional, taking your hobby like professional. Yeah, example is like hitting the job market, right? Because you eventually have to like look for a job. You get so initially it was not easy. When I was like trying to like transition my hobbies into like something how to like do professional, I realized like on LinkedIn you have to like take these professional headshots that people should know that this is a serious person, not like someone knows just somebody that's just doing some random stuff and the game a day. You have to like arrange your CV and then do some stuff just to
getting
serious with life, and it's your hobby. Like, I mean, if you're doing it for fun, you're not supposed to be taking anything, but but you realize that okay. Some of the challenges from when you start applying for jobs or like looking for roles, you get rejections. It's not be as if okay, is it that I don't
makes
know?
you downcast.
Yeah, is it you now start feeling like okay, is it that I don't know what I'm doing, or this is my hobby? Is it I'm just like boboing myself, or I'm just like saying this? I don't really know the right things to do, or I'm not just doing things right. Yeah.
So of course, as a person, if you realize that with your hobbies and passions turning, of course, going professional, the whole thing, there are challenges that are going to come your way. So it's best as a person to be open-minded towards rejection, of course, because there are times that it's not going to work out. But don't let the passion die, because that's the drive of the whole thing. So what tools do you use to promote what you do, your profession? What tools do you use?
There are a lot of tools, but I'm very particular about some. Like online. I think when you have hobbies, you have to like make your hobbies known to people. When there's something you know how to do very well, like you have to make it known to the outside world, right? And there are lots of tools like social media, and social media is a very key one in my career. So the ones I use particularly is Twitter. On Twitter and LinkedIn. And sometimes my WhatsApp for my daily like local community, and basically Twitter, LinkedIn, And then basically those two are like my major push, like for people to see what I do, like for people to I expose my works.
Do they help you actually reach your target audience?
Yeah, yeah.
Does it really help you really reach out to people?
Yeah, yeah. I think on in Twitter, and as far as I'm concerned, Twitter Nigeria, they have this tech Twitter.
Okay.
It's a big tech community on Twitter in Nigeria, right? So once you do the right thing, like you post content that people want to see in tech, I think people will engage, and people willing to help learn, to like just share ideas on what you have done, like you
Okay.
just like putting one or two things here. So the community on Twitter in tech is very large, and on LinkedIn we are looking for like professional roles and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the second one I use. Those are the tools that I use in pushing myself. Very
pushing
important
yourself.
to me. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. It's nice to know that, okay, there are tools that one can actually use to push their business or
Yeah.
the whatever they want to start doing.
Yeah, take example. Somebody
yeah.
can be like a content creator. Many of them
Okay.
use TikTok. TikTok is like something that's trending. So TikTok, I think TikTok, a lot of people make money from TikTok. I don't know if you're aware. So
Yeah, it can be monetized.
yeah, just doing what they love to do. Some people just do their hobby there.
But not everybody is called into the world of content creating.
Content creating. I know it's a lot.
It's not easy.
It's a lot. Yeah, like editing and doing those stuff. But it's what not everybody can have the same hobby.
True.
You can try as much as possible to do what this person is doing, but you may not be up to. The person will just do it effortlessly, and you just post, and people will just be engaging. But you might be putting in work, and it might not be seen to come in.
True.
Right. You get so.
And also, I think it's best that you know what exactly your hobby is, what you can actually thrive in
Yeah.
to start with. I think we should actually start with that from the beginning,
Yeah.
because knowing what you like, knowing what you want to do, is actually the first step into now saying, okay, I want to go professional into this.
Yeah.
For example, I like to talk, I like to do this.
Yeah.
So I had to now go professional into
yeah.
it. You get, I like to edit, of course, I have to do what? Go professional into it. So if the first things first is know what you like, know what you want to do.
Yeah.
Find what your hobby is, what you're very good at, and you can actually invest in it. And trust me, you will cash out. Because this period, this era that we're in, or more everything like
Gen
this,
Z
you can,
era.
this Gen Z era,
Gen Z era, they call
you
it.
can definitely cash out anywhere, anytime. Okay, people, it was actually wonderful here in the studio with Davidson. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank
I did
you.
enjoy this. I do hope you guys have learned. You've learned from the challenges that he had, from the experience that he got. So regardless, I hope one way or the other, this is actually going to help you and see you through whatever you're going to go into. Bye for now.
Now before we get started, I want to debunk something. A lot of us are under the assumption that there's only one thing out there that can be our passion, that it's predetermined by birth, and that all we have to do is find it. But that's not how it works. The truth of the matter is that there's probably many things that could potentially be your passion. In fact, it's entirely possible to have more than one passion. If you take a look at a lot of very successful people, you'll find that this is generally the case. For example, Tim Ferriss is a well-known author and speaker. But did you know that he was also a competitive dancer, wrestler, and investor? There's only two things you need to do in order for you to discover one of your passions. The first is that you must change where you get your dopamine from. Dopamine is the chemical that is released by our brain that motivates us to do things. Without it, you will literally starve to death, even if there was food right in front of you. The release of dopamine is also accompanied by pleasure. The problem nowadays is that dopamine is very easy to get. It's cheap and it's abundant everywhere. Back in the day, we had to do stuff in order to get that dopamine, and most of the time that meant creating something. You had to build a house, you had to create a nice piece of pottery, you had to go out and tend to your crops. While you worked on these tasks, you were flooded with dopamine and you felt good about the whole process. If you follow this route, you'd naturally become passionate about whatever it is that you did. But nowadays, it's a little bit different. We can now flood our brain with dopamine without having to do much at all. You can surf the web, you can binge watch some TV shows, you can order amazing food to your front door almost instantaneously. And methods like this have become the main sources of dopamine for the majority of people. Now, what's different about these sources of dopamine as compared to the ones we used to get it from? Well, these are forms of consumption, and the ones we used to use are forms of creation. And this is a very important distinction. In order for something to be your passion, it must stem from creation. If you get the majority of your dopamine from a form of consumption, do you know what we call that? We call that an addiction. You're addicted to watching TV, you're addicted to smoking cigarettes, you're addicted to eating junk food. But on the other hand, if we get the majority of our dopamine from a form of creation, that's called the passion. You're passionate about drawing, you're passionate about dancing, you're passionate about farming. So the first and most important thing you have to do in order to find your passion is to turn back your consumption valve. Watch less TV, play less video games, eat less junk food. When you turn back your consumption valve, you force yourself to start looking for dopamine from forms of creation. This is crucial for our next step. The second thing you have to do in order to find your passion is to simply expose yourself to a variety of different forms of creation, to give yourself a chance to get dopamine from these sources instead of forms of consumption. Now, there's no fancy trick to finding these things, you just gotta approach it the old-fashioned way, by trying things out. So what I suggest you to do after successfully completing step number 1 is to search up a list of hobbies. Literally, go on Google and type in list of hobbies Wikipedia. Look through the list, and if you see anything that seems even remotely interesting or fun, write it down. Create a list. Then all you have to do is take this list and ask yourself, which thing would I like to try out first? You should only try out one of these hobbies at a time. You must give yourself enough time to see whether or not you can make this hobby into a passion. If you've successfully followed our first step, which is to drastically tone down the amount of dopamine you get from forms of consumption, what happens next should be automatic. Let's say you picked photography as something you might be interested in. If you followed our first step correctly, you'll naturally do some research on photography. You'll look up some videos, you'll start playing around with a cheap camera or your phone, and after a while, you'll know whether or not you actually like this hobby. All of this is fueled by the dopamine that you are no longer getting from forms of consumption, because you're now getting it from a form of creation. And let's say you don't find yourself interested in photography, all you have to do is move on to the second thing on your list. And if that doesn't work out either, try the third thing, and so on and so on. And if you continue to find yourself not interested in anything, then chances are you're not following the first step properly. You have to turn down the amount of dopamine you get from forms of consumption even more. Now, I know this sounds overly simplistic, but finding a passion isn't as hard as people make it seem. Honestly, all you have to do is tone down the amount of dopamine you're getting from sources of consumption and allow yourself to explore different forms of creation.
And that is all on today's episode of Youth Perspective. We explore the world and how to turn our hobbies into profits. And yes, next week there's going to be a part 2, so we can actually explore more on how to monetize our hobbies, of course. Remember, your perspective is valuable and your voice matters. Until next episode of Youth Perspective, I remain yours sincerely, Joy Okmane.